The beast has been awakened, and Raw is about to explode. After weeks of dominance, Brock Lesnar just suffered the most shocking defeat of his career, and now he's demanding answers face-to-face with the one man who dared to dethrone him. What happens when an unstoppable force refuses to accept defeat? You won't believe what went down in that ring last night. Stick around, this is WWE Express, and we're breaking down everything. Hey everyone, welcome back to WWE Express. I'm your host, and if you're not already subscribed, hit that bell right now because we're covering the biggest, most jaw-dropping moments from Raw. Last night was insane, folks. The wrestling world is still shaking from what we witnessed. For months, Brock Lesnar has been an absolute force of nature in WWE. The man has been unstoppable, demolishing opponents left and right, and it seemed like nothing could stop the beast. But then, something extraordinary happened. Someone rose to the occasion. Someone stood up when everyone else fell down, and that someone is Femi. In what might be the most shocking result we've seen in recent memory, the rising star managed to overcome the odds and defeat Brock Lesnar in a match that will be talked about for years to come. But here's where it gets interesting. Lesnar has never been one to take defeat lightly. So when he showed up on Raw to confront Femi face-to-face, the entire arena held its breath. Let's break down everything that happened. Before we get into the confrontation, we need to understand the magnitude of what just happened. Brock Lesnar isn't just any competitor in WWE. The Beast Incarnate is a multi-time WWE champion, a WWE Hall of Famer, and one of the most dominant forces in professional wrestling history. This man has competed at the highest levels of combat sports, and he's made a career out of proving that he's better than everyone else. Femi, on the other hand, represents the future of WWE. Here's a competitor who's been rising through the ranks, showing incredible strength, athleticism, and hunger. Week after week, he's been making a name for himself, impressing fans with his performances. But nobody, and I mean nobody, expected him to actually defeat Brock Lesnar in a head-to-head match. The lead up to their match was perfect storytelling. You had the Beast, confident as ever, treating this young competitor almost like a warm-up. And you had Femi, seizing the opportunity of a lifetime, refusing to be intimidated by the legendary stature of his opponent. That's the kind of narrative that makes professional wrestling magical, because you truly didn't know who was going to walk away victorious. And then the match happened. Intensity, physicality, back-and-forth action. The crowd was on their feet the entire time. And when that final bell rang, and Femi had his hand raised, it felt like the wrestling world shifted on its axis. A new star was born, and the Beast was left to grapple with something he doesn't experience often: defeat. Let's talk about what made this victory so significant. It wasn't just that Femi won, it's how he won. This wasn't a fluke. This wasn't a miscalculation or a lucky break. Femi earned that victory through sheer determination, incredible athleticism, and one moment of genius that caught the Beast off guard. When you've been on top like Lesnar has been, you're used to winning. You're used to dominating. You're used to your opponents crumbling under the pressure. But Femi didn't crumble. When faced with the most intimidating opponent in wrestling, he rose to the challenge. The aftermath of the match was telling. Lesnar didn't attack anyone. He didn't throw a tantrum. He simply looked at Femi with a level of respect mixed with disbelief. Because for someone like Brock Lesnar, facing defeat, real defeat, is something he doesn't experience often, and when he does, it drives him crazy. It gnaws at him. It makes him hungry for redemption. And that's what made last night's Raw so important. Because you knew Lesnar would be back. You knew he wouldn't let this stand. The question was, how would the Beast respond? Would he attack? Would he demand an immediate rematch? Would he take the high road? Everyone was waiting to find out. And then Raw happened, and Brock Lesnar made his presence known. The moment his music hit, the crowd erupted. Because when the Beast enters the arena, you know something significant is about to go down. He walked with purpose. He walked with intensity. And when he made his way to the ring, it was clear that he had something to say. Lesnar addressed the crowd with characteristic confidence. He acknowledged his loss, but the way he framed it was fascinating. He didn't make excuses. Instead, he showed respect to Femi in his own way, recognizing that his opponent had done something remarkable. But then he made it crystal clear, this isn't over. This is just the beginning of a rivalry that's going to define the next chapter of both their careers. Then, out comes Femi. The new breakout star, the man who just defeated the Beast, walks to that ring knowing that Lesnar has one thing on his mind: revenge. And the tension in the arena was absolutely electric. You could feel the anticipation. You could see both men measuring each other up, not with malice, but with the kind of respect that only two top-tier athletes can share. What happened next was professional wrestling at its finest. Both men talked. Both men stood their ground. Both men made it clear that they have unfinished business. Lesnar made it known that while he respects the victory, he's not done with Femi, not by a long shot. Femi, meanwhile, didn't back down. He stood tall, acknowledged the magnitude of what he's accomplished, and made it clear that he earned his moment in the spotlight and he's not going anywhere. The intensity was off the charts. Management had to step in at one point, concerned about where this was heading. But that's the thing about professional wrestling, sometimes the anticipation of what might happen is just as powerful as what actually happens. And in this case, both men made it abundantly clear round 2 is inevitable, and when it happens, it's going to be even more intense than the first encounter. So what does this all mean for the future of WWE? Well, we're witnessing the birth of a potential mega rivalry. Brock Lesnar vs. Femi could become one of the defining feuds of this era. Here's why. First, you have the Beast, a legendary competitor with an unmatched resume who refuses to accept that his dominance has ended. Second, you have the future, a young, hungry, incredibly talented competitor who just proved he belongs at the highest level of professional wrestling. When those two forces collide, magic happens. The contrast between them is perfect from a storytelling perspective. Lesnar represents the old guard, the established elite who's accustomed to winning. Femi represents the next generation, the up-and-coming star proving he can beat anyone. That's a narrative that resonates with fans because it's a battle between eras. And here's what makes it even better: both men clearly respect each other. This isn't about hatred or personal vendetta. This is about two elite athletes wanting to prove who the superior competitor is. This is about establishing dominance and making a statement. And that's the kind of rivalry that lasts months, that produces multiple incredible matches, and that fans will remember forever. The next chapter of this story hasn't been written yet, but one thing is absolutely certain: when Brock Lesnar and Femi step back into that ring, it's going to be unmissable television. The wrestling world is watching, and we cannot wait to see what happens next. Now, I want to hear from you. What did you think about Lesnar's response? Do you think Femi can defeat the Beast again, or was his first victory a one-time upset? Let me know in the comments below. I read every single comment, and I love engaging with this community. If you think this rivalry is going to be legendary, smash that like button. And if you haven't subscribed to WWE Express yet, please do. We cover the biggest wrestling moments, break down the best storylines, and give you insider perspectives on everything happening in the world of professional wrestling. Drop a comment, let me know your predictions, and let's continue this conversation together. Thanks so much for watching WWE Express. This has been an incredible time to be a professional wrestling fan, and I'm so grateful that you've chosen to spend your time here with us. Whether you're Team Lesnar or Team Femi, one thing is for certain: the next chapter of their rivalry is going to be absolutely epic. Make sure you subscribe, hit that notification bell, and check out the other videos on this channel for more breaking news, analysis, and coverage of everything happening in WWE and professional wrestling. Until next time, wrestling fans, keep watching, keep supporting the athletes who inspire us, and I'll see you in the next video. This is WWE Express, where we celebrate the sport and the superstars who make it incredible. Stay awesome.